Alrighty, so we are here, and let me tell you, it was a heck of an event. I was really happy to get out to this year's Chicago Small Business Expo, or the Small Business Expo Chicago, because they're in multiple cities, and that's one thing I'm going to touch on as I going through some of the business cards. As mentioned, on my way to the cafe, had to get something really cool to drink. Let me tell y'all, that's the thing about Chicago. For y'all who don't know, Chicago summers are hot. Well, they always talk about the cold. They always talk about how it can freeze here. Chicago summers are hot, and your boy was baking. So I had to get out the suit, had to get out the sports coat, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to a cafe. I know I love to work, get some work done, have my meeting, go follow up about that too, and just get away from the heat and get out of the suit. Now, chillaxing, had a wonderful latte. Oh, so by the way, the drinks, the food, the snacks. We're going to get into all that. But let's first start off with this year's Small Business Expo Chicago. Okay, so this is probably this is actually my fourth year going to the Small Business Expo. I went 1 year, with some years in between, and then I went again for the last 3 years, right? And let me tell you, the thing about this event, I will say, for an event that has, first off, it's free registration, it's free to attend. You can get different packages, different badges. But even from the free side, this is one of the few events where I say you get so much for a free event. And if no other event for you attend, unless you're doing something for your industry, I will say that. If you're doing something for your industry, definitely go. But if you're not doing anything for your industry, if you're trying to go to events that are outside of your sector or something like that, this is a really great one to go to. I believe when they first started, it was only like maybe 5 or 6 cities. I think they're up to like 13 now. That is incredibly important because what we're seeing right now with small businesses, this was brought up actually at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce event for Small Business Day. And what was brought up is how local entrepreneurs, local small businesses, the focus is hyper local on everything. You'll notice this with news. You'll notice this with journalism. You'll notice this with people focusing on let's focus on the local government, even though you should always be doing that. But let's really zero in on that, because not only do you have a little more control over that, of course, but just like with business, just like with commerce, you have not only more control of it, it really helps you understand okay, what's the bigger picture, what leads into the bigger picture, because what's going on locally is going to be a great, just to be honest with you, you're going to be able to see what's coming up in the future, most likely, right? Because those are things that are going to directly impact you. And they may even impact you longer term, as opposed to something on a national, federal level, something like that. And what the Small Business Administration was talking about, or specifically the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, what they were talking about at Small Business Day it's how small businesses, local businesses, small solopreneurs, they notice, hey, we can't count on what's coming from the Fed. There's no certainty. It's all over the place. This is not getting into administration stuff. This is just being honest. You can't count on, there's no certainty of what's coming from a national level. So we have to be ever vigilant at a local level, right? We know what impacts us and our businesses, and we know what impacts us in our communities. Let's focus on, what do we have to do to collaborate, connect, to build together? And that's why events like this, even though it's not trying to, do anything to that from a government level or anything like that, it's an opportunity for you to meet other entrepreneurs in your neighborhood, meet entrepreneurs in your community. And that's one of the first things I wanted to start off with. One of the big things that I noticed, and I had to point out about this, is that just like last year, the best part about these events is I meet entrepreneurs, small business owners from the city, from my area, but also in the region, in the larger region, so the Midwestern region. Last year was some really good businesses from Minnesota. There was one business I connected with, and they were based in Ohio. And that's where I learned a lot about what was going on in Ohio. And I'm seeing even more of that. I'll get into that in a moment too. As the thunderstorm was starting to come in, because this is what happens in Chicago. For those who don't know, sorry, side tangent. Chicago, when it gets really hot, for those who don't know, you come in here in the summer, it's going to get hot. Like today, it's going to get up to 90, right? Because of the humidity. And then it's going to storm like a motherfucker. And we've got that out of the way. Now we've got the little weather report, Doppler radar here at 9. What is happening is that every single one of these events, you get to meet businesses from that region. So in this case, there were a lot of businesses everywhere from, I mentioned Ohio. Like last year, there was some more business from Ohio. but Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana. And that's what you want to see. Honestly, that's what I want to see. But one of the best connections I made was a business based in California. Even though they have an office here, they have, representatives here, and this is one of their markets. Their hub and their headquarters is, San Diego in California, which goes to show you just how much small businesses are, how much they're investing in reaching out and connecting all over the place and identifying what market works best for my business. And that market might be San Diego, Chicago, and Atlanta fall, right? And you could be in one of those places. And that's why it's good to attend an event like this. So one of the things that stood out to me about this year was, although a lot of attendees, a lot of registrations, one thing I noticed is that unlike the previous year where I saw, exhibitors who were there before, they came back, doubled down, maybe got a bigger booth, got a bigger area, maybe, had more advertising or more promotions there, or, had a better deal, a discount maybe that they were offering on the other show. There wasn't a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of repeat exhibitors, not the smaller businesses, like for the exhibitor standpoint. Now, the bigger businesses like Lenovo, Comcast, they were there before. Even some of the bigger businesses, though, on that level, they didn't return. Like Verizon was there, T-Mobile was there, Comcast. But there were two or three that I noticed, and they not like they went away by a merger acquisition. They just weren't there anymore. And that's one of the things to call out. Like, well, maybe they, didn't see the opportunity based on the registration. Maybe they didn't see the opportunity based on Chicago. Although, what I was really looking forward to seeing is, are the same businesses that were there last year in an area that small businesses need to be focused on more so this year, especially. Did they show up? And no, they didn't. So last year, one of the big things, I know was a lot of exhibitors who, did payment processing. They had POS systems. This is an area that's critical right now, right? Surprisingly, a lot of small businesses still don't know how much money they either retain or lose based on the payment processor that they select. I've gone over this before with clients in the past, especially those who deal with regulated goods, that deal with, products that are, let's just be real, products that have such regulations and restrictions on it they can't be sold all throughout the U.S. that they maybe not be able to sold internationally or vice versa. This happens a lot, especially we're talking things like CBD, medicinal marijuana, other products and services that maybe not safe for work in one way or another, or just regulated goods like supplements, things like that. You got to be very cautious and careful the way you advertise, you promote those things. And that includes your payment processors, because some payment processors consider that a higher risk business, so they won't process the payments. But you think that's the real risk. That's not the risk for the business. And this is what I brought. This was actually a good conversation I had with one of the vendors there. There were a lot of POS, there were a lot of payment processors, a lot of payment gateways last year. And this is actually a far more important issue this year. And yet I saw less of them, and that made me very concerned. The thing is that you may say, well, I can't process the payment using maybe PayPal or Square on my website. No, that's not the real issue. I mean, that can be an issue, but that's not the real issue. The real issue is the fact that you may be able to process some payments. You may be able to have many different clients, many transactions, but the moment your transactions, the moment your business, your revenue, or anything gets into an area where it's like, it's not normal, seems a little weird, a little funny, what's going on there? The payment process, based on terms and conditions that you sign, they could seize your funds. They could freeze your funds. They can return the funds to the sender. They can stop transactions entirely. Then what? How do you get your money? Because we got to remember, the majority of these payment gateways and payment processors, they're not FDIC insured. No, even think about this. PayPal, Square, right? Your money at a bank, Bank of America, Chase, whomever you have, U.S. Bank, doesn't matter, is FDIC insured up to a certain amount, of course, which means something happens. Well, maybe not all your money's going to be wiped out, right? But they at least have to have $1 for every dollar up to that amount, right? Typically it's what, $250,000, $500,000? But what about one of these payment processors? No, it doesn't work that way. There aren't the same assurances there. Assurances there. I say insurances. Did I go to school? They're not the same assurances there. And that's something to be very cautious about. And I'm noticing more and more people, of course, open a business. Oh, I want to have a CBD business, or I want to have a business in supplements, and I want to have a business in, well, not the Zimpy, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? You got to be cautious about that because transactions, I mean, depending upon where they're coming from, how they're moving, you may not be able to get all those funds. So I wanted to see how many people are not only encountering that, but more importantly, what are payment processors and POS companies and payment gateways? What are they doing to protect the consumer, but of course, protect the small business owner? But there were far less there. And some of the businesses, actually about 5 of them that were there last year were not there this year. Very interesting to see. What there were more of course, AI businesses. And this is the one, Lord have mercy. All right. So here's my thing. There were AI agencies, of course. Now, one thing I was happy to see about AI, there were far more businesses focusing on AI agents, right? And helping you develop, workflows, helping you develop, and this is to me, the more important thing, helping you develop, hey, this is what our system does, or this is what our company does. This is what our team does. These are our processes. What can we offload and put onto AI? That way we can give more time, more energy, more effort, more resources to the actual employees, to the actual people doing the work, that they are doing it at an optimal level. Had a few. And these are the ones I'm more concerned with. The AI agencies that they're not connecting, hey, they're an SEO agency. They are, they write blogs, or, maybe they do analytics. Maybe they build out, databases, or even better yet, maybe they build out entire funnels, right? And optimize websites, optimize sales pipelines, something like that. And they identify opportunities to leverage AI tools, whether tools are already there or something that they've built in proprietary, and they're trying to sell out, or they're trying to lease or license or whatever it is, or maybe even their service. They're actually trying to employ, their work and their services to you. Cool. Nothing wrong with that, right? Go for it. Yay. No. Instead, you get the ones who, well, we can design everything with AI. Are they graphic designers? Are they web developers? Are they digital marketers? Are they SEOs? No. And this is where that area comes to play, that little area of friction. So recently, slight side tangent, but not completely. Recently, and I always mess up his name. Sorry if I mess up his name, butcher his name. Martin Scorsese, one of the most decorated, most talented, most accomplished, but just in general, one of the best filmmakers of all time, hands down, no question. Recently, he started working, and he mentioned that he started working with an AI development team, an AI, kind of AI agency, but more of a development team, but specifically in the capacity of filmmaking. Now, it's not that he's going to create all his movies with AI. It's not that he's going to start writing movies only with AI. What he mentioned in the interview was that it's more so in the capacity of developing storyboards and mapping out a film. This is actually one of those areas that I'm saying that, especially from the standpoint of storytelling, standpoint of marketing, because it's like using it for a wireframe or a mock-up or an outline, or even formatting the story, right? Formatting it to where, it needs to, for a print publication, or it needs to be presented for a pitch or anything like that. This is those areas that I see the optimization for AI, or actually the AI being not only an optimization of your daily process, but also truly where we need to be focusing on using it. We got to take a level of business ethics, but personal ethics, and, morality, and it goes with it, but business ethics and personal ethics, right? And professional ethics, and connected to, well, the technology is not going anywhere, but what can we use it in capacity that doesn't delete, remove, destroy jobs, destroy industries, and enhances talent, enhances skill set and experience. And I see that this is a perfect example of that. For instance, as I've just brought up, if you are an SEO, right, and anyone even with a year, not even a year of experience working as an SEO knows what I'm getting to at this point. If you're an SEO, you're trying to identify not only the keywords, the phrases, the terminology, but also the structure. And we all know fresh content is important content. If you could find a way to use or leverage AI to develop fresh content, right? And optimize that fresh content. Well, what structure is necessary or what keywords are being found? Could it automatically insert that? But you wrote the initial blog. Or, hey, you know what? You come up with the structure in the outline. I actually write the article. I actually write the descriptions. I actually write the meta tags. I actually do those things. Or better yet, I've developed the website. I've developed the entire page. But now I got to go through every single piece of content and make sure it has the right tags, to make sure it's optimized in size. Maybe there's an AI tool that can insert that. That's going to eliminate a lot of tedious, mundane work. I should say just tedious work, not the mundane, but tedious work. It's going to get rid of that, right? And it could help you so you could focus on, well, okay, I can use AI to help with the research, but I got to develop and make sure an actual process to validate my resources, to validate, or I should say references, right? And that's the kind of thing that we can leverage AI without eliminating a job, without eliminating a person per se. Now, from a storyboard perspective, you're probably saying, well, yeah, but wouldn't that eliminate a storyboard artist? Well, I don't know if you've ever drawn a storyboard. I've drawn a couple, right? Because I had to do it for music videos and stuff like that. And as a person who sketches, as a person who, look, Marvel Comics ain't hiring me anytime soon, okay? We ain't gonna talk about them other dudes. But Marvel Comics ain't hiring me anytime soon, right? Image Comics, hey. No, I'm joking. But I'm not drawing the next issue of Shadowhawk anytime soon, okay? Although, one important factor when you're developing a storyboard, right? The story. So if AI can help you with outlining the story, not writing the story by far. If AI can help you with identifying, well, image placement, where it can go, what it can do, what's going to happen in the scene, that's great. But if you have the funds, you have the resources, you have the time, you're probably still going to hire a storyboard artist. Here's where I see the AI really being a benefit. You don't have the money. You don't have the time, or maybe you have the time, but you really need to be focused on writing that story. And anyone worth their salt who've written any kind of story worth reading knows that takes time. Lots of it, especially when you work with an editor. And you should work with an actual editor, somebody who actually reads the story, actually comes back and says, you know what, this needs to be changed, this needs to be augmented, this needs to be developed. When you're doing it with an AI tool, when you don't have the money, and you're like, hey, I want to focus on the story. Okay, I can feed my story into this tool. It can spit out a storyboard and I can refine it. I can't draw. I can't paint. And I know what somebody's gonna say. Well, you can hire somebody. Well, let's be real. As a person who's paid models, who's paid videographers, photographers, illustrators, painters, web developers as well, and it's almost always out of my own pocket. Actually, I will say almost always, because sometimes clients pay for that in projects. But when you're doing something for a pitch, when you're doing something for, a proposal, and there's no money coming back in from a client for sure. And frankly, let's just be real. Most of these guys who are doing this, scrapping it together, they may be working as a waiter. They may be have a full-time job. They may be working as a teacher, have families, have kids, women at late at night, hey, maybe single parents, single mothers up working on their craft, but they also got to work a full-time job. That's more the notion to say, hey, throw somebody $500 to do this. And let's be real. Those artists who are doing it, they deserve to be paid. They deserve to be paid. I'm going to be the first one to say that. So to ask them to do something in kind and to barter, yeah. And this is where that AI tool comes into play. Because it's like, hey, if I can get started at least with this. For example, I brought up comic books. I wanted to do a comic book some years back. I still want to do this as a graphic novel. But I had another idea for a comic book. I found great artists, and they were honest about the pricing. And let me tell you, real talk, based on what I was looking for, they were being really nice and reasonable. But here's the thing about it. And I love the final artist that I spoke to. She made a really good point and a great, great lesson for anybody who wants to question, should you, consider using AI for this kind of stuff, mock-up, spec, wireframe, stuff like that. She's like, hey, this is a good price because I believe in this project. But keep in mind, we all know there's going to be edits. There's going to be revisions. There's going to be changes. And that's extra hours. And she was willing to bite the bullet and do that, which is cool. But my area of saying, hey, you know what? I know what it's like to do that from a web design perspective. And yeah, okay, you got paid $1,000, you got paid $5,000, you got paid $10,000 when you did a $30,000, $50,000 project because of the extra hours you had to put in for revisions, for time and things like that. So when you hear, and this is the area I really want to see more people working in, is where you hear somebody of that level of magnitude and talent. I mean, what Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, they're working with an AI filmmaking tool as well. Once again, not making and generating the whole films, is doing aspects, is helping them develop films faster to where they can get to the real work, the acting, the writing, the scripting, working with the crew, right? The things that really make it pop and make it a beautiful piece of work, a beautiful piece of art. We need to see plumbers, electricians, HVAC specialists. I know it hurts the artist and the creative in us, right? But we need writers, we need actors, we need models, we need dancers, we need painters, we need illustrators, we need people with those talents, skills, abilities, and crafts. You're the ones who need to be developing the AI tools. That truly, because you are the ones who say, hey, you know what? I know what my day looks like. If I could give this to a computer, would be great. If I could give this to a computer, would be awesome. And now I'm going to help everybody else. And I know it's very, optimistic way of thinking about it, but honestly, that's a genuine benefit to people because it ain't going nowhere. And it was funny because as I passed by these AI guys who they're the opposite, right? These are the people who they're going to use AI to make the thumbnails. They're going to use AI to make the videos. They're going to use AI to write the social media post. But then if you start asking them about analytics and optimizations, you start asking them about tagging, you start asking them about, how each algorithm is different and how to play that algorithm, how to optimize that algorithm. They won't know what the heck you're talking about because they don't do that. They're using AI for everything. Those are the people we're like, nah. I'm talking about the professionals. I'm talking about the experience. I'm talking about the talent. I'm talking about the creators who know there's little mundane, tedious, annoying tasks. There's tasks that just take up a lot of our time. There's tasks that take up a lot of just energy in general. What can we actually utilize to take that off of our plate so we can focus and use our experience, our talent in the more necessary area of where our expertise is far more, utilized. Now, with that being said, that leads to a conversation I had as I passed by these AI agents. This is one of the beautiful points of these expos. It was a meetup time for marketing and PR. I actually ran into a real estate investor from New York who does business here in Chicago, commercial real estate here in Chicago. And it's funny enough, sure enough, I passed him by these AI tools, and I guess I can imagine he passed by it too, so that's why it was on top of his brain. We started chit-chatting about marketing. We started chit-chatting about New York and stuff like that. And then he asked me, he said, man, aren't you afraid of AI? My response to him is my response anytime people ask, are you afraid of AI? Should you be concerned about AI? Whether it's in my industry or general. And I'm actually coming from being, project manager where AI has, in a way, kind of decimated, right? A lot of project management jobs. To an extent, depending upon what area you're in, what industry you're in, right? And I said, no, very simply, no. I said, the only people who should be afraid, truly afraid. Now, I'm not talking about of the environmental impact. I'm not talking about of the economic impact because of stupidity, if you ask me, but that's my opinion. There's a lot of stupid things going on, but that's my opinion. Right? And of course, once again, the environmental impact and the negative environmental impact. Outside of that, which is significant, but outside of that, there are really only two aspects really you should be afraid you will be afraid of AI, and especially AI of replacing your job. Those who are not willing to pivot and those who aren't willing to learn it. Pivot could be utilizing and leverage it completely, right? But web designer myself, I can tell you right now, I've built some websites with AI. They're crap. Sorry, but they are. And I've already fixed 2 people's websites that were built with AI because they were crap. Now, that can always get better. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can't. But if you notice the AI tools or the AI web design tools, it's so cute and funny how they have to sprinkle this in there, because that web platform, that web hosting platform knows one thing, if nothing else. You need that website to actually be good and be found. So they give you a lot of little options. Hey, you want to get in there and customize and tweak, and do you know why they do that? Because they know you need to get in there and customize and tweak, because this ain't that good. And that's okay. The way AI should be seen is as a template. It's just not a professionally designed template, because you're probably not a professional and you don't know how to prompt it well or whatever, one thing or the other. Although, when I mentioned this to him, he had to take a step back and he said that's the best answer possible, because if you're not willing to pivot mean, hey, I'm going to change things up and completely move over and leverage this technology, or at least learn it to where you can fit it into whatever you do, not necessarily getting away from everything you do, but identifying an opportunity for you, then you will get left behind. And that's my plea is designers, writers, bring your talent and experience to the people who are not cultured. I'm sorry, it's fact. They are only looking for technology to just be the shiny new thing and get the job done. And it's hurting them. And we're not getting into the whole thing about AI flyers, because I had a whole, might as well do it. I won't talk about strictly about the Expo, but I'm going to talk about this now. So AI flyers are by far one of the worst things people can do, right? And we're seeing that because, one, you're hurting your brand. For those who don't know, you're actually hurting your brand, because people, the worst thing you can do to people is show something. And I know you're probably not connecting those dots, so I'm going to connect them here for you. Artificial representation of my business. I'm going to say that again. AI, of course, stands for artificial intelligence. You use something artificially to be the first visual, the initiation of your brand to a consumer. Now, maybe the 20,000 people that know you. But the 100 million that don't know you and saw that, now they know you. And they're like, oh, the first time I see your brand, it's not really you. That's like if you saw this. Yeah. Look what AI did to me. Look what AI did to me. I was like, you know what? Let me play around with a thumbnail. Let me see something. It did that to me. My point is that if you are showing your brand for the very first time to somebody and using something like that, that's wrong on so many levels. Okay, getting off that tangent. So I'm not trying to go too far down there. Let's just go. So randomly, investor from New York. And this is the cool part about this type of event, because I did the networking circle before, where basically it's a setup where, people of, because we get these badges that indicate, what industry or industries or sectors of an industry we're from, and get an opportunity to network within. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't usually do those because I'm like, well, there's the American Marketing Association. There's other marketing events I can attend and I've gone to. I'm not going to keep, no offense, but I'm not going to keep just, I'm here to meet with people outside of that. And this is also why I created the tool that we shared in the newsletter this week. And we shared it a couple weeks ago as event season started to kick off and convention season started to kick off, because you want to optimize every opportunity to get what you want out of these events. I wasn't there to pitch my business. I wasn't there to pitch and make sales and stuff like that. I was there for 2 things. Number one, I was looking for specific skill sets to interview for future episodes of the podcast. The Ambitious Show podcast. Watch it. Watch my shit. Watch it. The Ambitious Show podcast every Thursday. Watch my shit. Watch it. And yes, I'm saying that word. Watch it. All right. So watch it. Point is that was one of the main goals this year. Second goal was to, of course, as I mentioned earlier, wanted to find out what was going on POS systems, payment gateways, payment processors. So got those things done. I was like, okay, well, now if I go to this networking circle event, hey, you know what? Let me make sure I go and meet people from other industries. And sure enough, insurance, banking, non-for-profits. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. Met some great people, had some fantastic conversations, just like with this gentleman here. And it was just overall a great event overall. But the best part, as I mentioned a little earlier, I had to leave the event a little early because very first 30 minutes into it, I'm going to one of the tables where it has, people's stickers, and you can get the stickers for your different industry. And you can also see, people's business cards a little down the ways. I run into just gentlemen, just like myself, or both. Both says PR, advertising. He's more actually on the public relations side. I am on the advertising, digital marketing, strictly digital marketing, in the areas of like SEO and blog writing and content creation. But we both go to the e-commerce table. And we're like, hey, what are you looking for here in your e-commerce? We start chit-chatting, and he mentions on his site what he's doing, what he's working on, an e-commerce site. He's looking for bloggers who have owned e-commerce businesses. Well, boom, done that, been there, built a couple sites, of course. So my experience with Shopify, WooCommerce, stuff like that, hit it off. And then he's like, hey, let's set up a meeting as soon as we get out of here, let's set up a meeting to chit chat about how we can get some blogs going, how we can get a couple articles going. And that's one of the benefits of going to something like this. And I wanted to bring it together is, listen, y'all, for those who don't know, you may be shocked. I'm pretty shy. I'm an introvert. Okay. I have no problem saying it. Proud of it, honestly. Embrace thyself, right? Okay. And the fact is that I know the only way to grow in anything, you got to connect. You got to get out there. You got to reach out to people. You got to branch out. And by far, one of the easiest ways to do that is going to events like this. Now, you go where you're strongest. You don't put yourself in an uncomfortable position, uncomfortable in the sense of where it's negative, uncomfortable where it's harsh, where it's, beating you down, and it doesn't make you feel you're at your strongest. Go to a place where you basically come out of your shell, or at the very least, you have an opportunity to showcase, hey, it's not about me. It's not about me feeling comfortable, uncomfortable. It's about what I'm doing here. What I'm here for is to be of value, right? I'm looking for people to interview, people to connect with, to bring more value to my listeners. I'm looking for more information to understand what's going on, to help the people who subscribe to my newsletter. I am thinking outside of what I'm scared, right? And that's the whole point. So because of that, I run into somebody who needs my services, even though I wasn't there for that. And that's why I ran, that we have that tool. It's free. It's in the description of this episode, but it's also in the newsletter we sent out last week. Make sure you subscribe to the Ambitious newsletter, please. And you'll receive free plug and plays every week. Shameless plug. That's why we developed a tool like that. Because I'm like, those are the two things I want to focus on. These are the people I want to meet. These are the conversations I want to have. Anything else, it's cream on the cake. Or icing on the cake. I say cream. It's icing. I'm wondering about my whole dessert life now. So not only do I get a really good meeting out of that and close that deal, by the way, papa. So 2 blogs about e-commerce coming your way. But at the same time, I still accomplished the goal that I wanted to, right? Which is met a few people that will be great future guests on the Ambitious Show podcast. Hopefully it all works out. We'd be love to have them, but also found out about what was going on with payment systems and payment gateways. As I mentioned, a couple of businesses that were there last year weren't there this year. I reached out to them and say, hey, what was going on? And they explained some things that were going on in the industry, but also one of the businesses that I met with based in Ohio, right here in the Midwest, okay, and explain why the Midwest is an opportunity for a lot of businesses. And this is the kind of thing you learn when you got to get out there. So here's my challenge to you. Listen, you got a great tool to identify how to get the most out of these events going forward, right? We got 6 months left. 6 months left this year. Now, I understand holiday seasons come up. I understand it's summer. I understand you got things going on. Hey, you got, everything from Christmas. You got Hanukkah. You got, Kwanzaa. You may want to take some time off in the holiday season and, of course, the summer. So not an event every month. Let's say 3 months. 3 months out of the last 6 months of this year. Find one event each month. 3 events. One event 3 months. And get the most out of that one event. Connect with people. Look at these cards, business cards, lots of them, tons of them. And those are just the physical cards. Got a bunch of digital cards too. Those are leads, but more importantly, those are just people to connect with and identify opportunities in their areas. They can identify opportunities in your area. You can bring value to them. They can bring value to you. But that's why you use the plug and play tool that's free for download. The Ambitious newsletter right there. Subscribe. There you go. You know what to do. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. I got a shameless plug. Got to do that as well. You get the most out of those events, but you also identify what opportunities do you need to take your business to the next level. Are you trying to sell your business? Are you trying to bring in more leads? Are you trying to close more deals on the leads that you already have? Who can help you with that? Well, maybe it's the business development person that we met. Or maybe it is something going on with your process or your workflow where an AI agent can help. Or better yet, maybe it's something on the payment and processing that you just need a new process or you need a new payment gateway. Met all of those types of people there, right? And the best part about them, they're from all over the place. So I don't work for Small Business Expo, never been a part of them, to that extent. But I will say this is probably one of the best free events that you can go to as a small business owner. And this is one of the best events to go to if you can exhibit. Awesome. To really get your name out there, fantastic. But if you could just go to one of these events and share your business card, connect with other business owners, hear what people have to say, go to enjoy the keynote speeches, you can't beat it. So I dipped out of there a little earlier today because I wanted to get ready for my meeting later on. I already had another scheduled meeting, but then I had this meeting with the gentleman that I met. We closed that deal. Then I had a meeting with another former client. That worked out well. Closed that deal. Had nothing to do with the event. Just closed that deal. So they're a former client that became a new client again. And enjoy some great coffee. So all in all, great event. If you can, there's a challenge to you. Like I mentioned, there are a couple other more cities. I think there's actually like 7 or 8 more cities they're going to the rest of this year. It could be a lot more than that. It could be a lot more than that, but that's just what I can remember from some of the images and some of the cities mentioned. If you're going to go, if there's one in your town and you can go, drop a comment in this video which small business expo you're going to go to, because they're like I said, they're going to Atlanta, Washington D.C. I think they still have Seattle. They're going to go to some really cool cities. So if you're in one of those cities and you're going to go this year, 2026, drop a comment. Now this video will be up here probably till 2030 or 2040 or whatever. I'm not going to be checking it. So if you say, hey, I found the video and I'm going and it's 2030, hey, that's great. I probably won't know, but I will come back. I will be coming back throughout the year, checking out to see if you're going to go to one in 2026. And hopefully, if the schedule permits, they haven't scheduled the dates. We'll see. I'll be able to see you at the 2027 Expo here in Chicago. If you can make it, if you're from Chicago, you're going to go to it. That'd be awesome. But I would highly suggest if you don't go to any other events this year, especially if it's a free event, right? You can't beat it. You really can't beat it. Met entrepreneurs that I had never met before. Learned about businesses that I didn't even know were out here like that. It was just awesome. Solopreneurs, mom and pop shops. Husband and wife teams. Listen, the point is get out there, connect and build community within the local community first, right? Stop trying to be, I'm trying to sell clothes all over the world. No, focus on the community. Get a stronghold here. Build out the network here and then branch out, because who knows where it could be, right? As I mentioned, there's a business based in California, but they knew they had the market here, right? Helping people, small businesses with shipping, which is a big issue. And they knew they had the market right here in Chicago. He's like, they got an office here in Chicago and their main office is in San Diego. I'm like, well, that's an interesting connection. What's the connection? None. But the business is here. He's from San Diego. He just traveled to this show because it made sense to come to this show, because this is where it's important that he has a presence. And that's the kind of thing you can have. You can find out that your presence is needed in Austin and you're based in Philadelphia for all you know. Or in this case, you're based in Chicago and maybe your presence is needed in Miami. But you won't know until you connect with other business owners and find out what's going on, what's lacking there. And you can build some very valuable networks and friendships that come out of it, and you build an entire community of businesses all over the country, maybe even the world. All in all, Small Business Expo Chicago 2026, fantastic event. Worked out, I mean, for lack of a better term, perfectly. The app has gotten better. It keeps track of, what you did in previous years, which I thought was a really cool touch. Because that's what, like, oh shit, I've been going to this thing for 5 years. I didn't even notice that. Right. And even better yet, it keeps some of those contacts that you made so you can reach out to them. Some of the people that couldn't go this year, they're like, yeah, I'm out of town, I'm doing business. Or I'm out of town and, well, I moved the whole business out of town, which I was really happy to see that one. That was a really awesome message from a person I met at the event last year. They moved their entire business out of town, so they moved out of town. I'm like, I ain't mad at you. Do your thing. Get down. Get your coins. Nobody hurting you. Nobody mad at you getting your coins. Coins everywhere. So, with that, y'all, be sure to like, share. I always care about the share. I care about the shares. It's nice to like. Thank you for subscribing. But share. Share with your community. Share with your network. And be sure to let me know if you are going to a Small Business Expo 2026. Drop a comment. You're going to 2027. Hopefully I see you at the Chicago one. If you're going to 2040, well, that's awesome. Hopefully we're all still around. Well, that was a really dark way to end that one. But, I keep it honest. Oh, by the way, before we go, yes, this horchata milkshake. We need more food trucks outside. But the food trucks that are outside this event, baby, horchata milkshake was hitting. I will follow this truck to any event going forward for that milkshake. Hitting. And I'm telling you right now, if no other reason to go to a live event, in a networking event, a horchata milkshake. So, for those who don't know, in Chicago, if it's cafe con leche, horchata, I'll be there. Just saying. I'll be there. Now, enjoy the video of me enjoying the horchata milkshake. Peace. Best to you or yours. Get to networking. Ehren